I took this commander deck apart, and I think it might have been a huge mistake. After making the video last night talking to you guys about all of the commander decks that hit the bin, the ones that ended up in my commander deck graveyard because they just didn't cut it anymore, I found myself asking the question, why did I take apart Arami the Dead Tide? And so I started digging through my phone to see if I could find the old deck list for the Arami deck, and I found it. And I gotta tell you guys, it's pretty cool. So Arami of the Dead Tide is a 1/4 blue-black legendary commander from Commander Legends. Costs blue-black 1 for a 1/4, tap exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have, so 3 most of the time. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Encore until end of turn. The Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. So essentially tap, exile a card from your graveyard, pay its mana cost, put 3 copies into play, all of which have haste and get exiled at end of turn, or rather sacrificed. So the first stuff you'd be doing is looking for ways to incidentally mill yourself. Millikin is gonna ramp you, and also mill Mesmeric Orb is gonna mill everybody. Ashiok Dream Render is just a really good card that mills anyway. Hedron Crab can turbo mill yourself with fetch lands and stuff. And then you just start getting into value, right? Priest of Gix exiles from your graveyard, casts for 3, but then comes into play as 3 copies and makes you 9 mana, right? Baleful Strix, just straight up for 2, is going to draw you 3 cards by casting it from the graveyard. Gilded Drake, this is maybe my favorite one. You steal 3 creatures, they each get a copy of Gilded Drake, Gilded Drake tokens. They don't go away because your opponents don't own them, so they don't actually sacrifice, but still, you get 3 instances of stealing something. Phyrexian Dreadnought seems a little weak, but it's still going to come down, make 3 copies of Dreadnought, you just sacrifice 2 of them and are left with a 12/12 with haste. I mean, it just seems like kind of a nice lava axe for 12. Quick reminder that all my content is brought to you guys by Ancestral MTG. These guys are awesome. They're kind of like market leaders in high-end and rarities. If you're ever looking for anything cool for your commander deck, a lot of my favorite stuff in my favorite decks has actually come from them. Anything from a Judge promo to a dual land to a Gaia's Cradle. You can hit that link in my bio and use my name Bateman10 at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase of $250 or more. Check them out, you won't be disappointed. My other kind of favorite piece of tech are things that leave bodies around. So Precursor Golem's going to come down, make 3 copies for each opponent, but then once the actual Precursor Golem is gone, you're going to be left with 18 power on the battlefield. Urza comes down, makes 3 Construct tokens, all of which can tap that turn to add blue mana, right? You're going to be left with the Construct tokens after. You can also use them for mana that turn if you want. 3 copies of Deceiver Exarch can untap Arami 3 times with triggers, or just untap Soul Rings. You can end the turn multiple ways to keep the tokens around. There are just so many cool tricks with this deck that you can pull off. Now, if I were to rebuild this deck today, I think there are things that I would do differently than I did back then, but I have to just say that overall, a lot of the themes, the ideas, the things that made this deck feel really cool are still really cool. Have you built Arami before? Let me know your opinions on the deck in the comments below.